Alright guys, TouchGrabber back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday so far, and another day, another dagger to the heart of the competitive Call of Duty community. Jordan JKap Kaplan yesterday announced his retirement from competitive play. A lot of people would say this has been a rather long time coming. The last couple of seasons haven't been the best to Cap. The move to 5v5 certainly wasn't ideal, and now going back to 4v4 certainly isn't great for a player with relatively little stock, with very few starting spots remaining. Hopefully he does stay around the Call of Duty community, but if you guys are relatively new to the scene, wanted to break down today exactly what made him such a special player, the championships he's won over the years, and where he sits really in the ranking of greatest players of all time, because he certainly is very much up there. He's been around the scene for like 10, 12 years. It's honestly remarkable to see that players that have been around that long can still be relevant to the top of professional play. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you do, subscribe if you are new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. It was only like 2 days ago I was thinking you guys were hitting 27,000 subscribers. This morning we hit 28,000. Unbelievable stuff. Yeah, thanks again. Maybe in a couple of days we'll hit 29,000. I don't know what is going on right now, but yeah, fantastic stuff. JKap says this: I'm officially retiring from Call of Duty. It was an incredible 10-year run that gave me some of the best memories of my life, but it is time to move on to another challenge. Thank you for all the support over the years. And well, as I said right here, Modern Warfare, baby. Josie got an Infinity War to the boys. Take another scalp. And, you know, this isn't really necessarily due to Modern Warfare, but, you know, just at the end of the season, we find that Karma retires mid-season, and now JKap retires right at the end. Modern Warfare was the Grim Reaper, taking souls, and yes, we've seen retirements in other Call of Duty games like Black Ops 3. There was a couple of notable ones like Merk and TP, I think, and, you know, there's been some ones that have been dotted throughout the years, but the names of, you know, Karma and JKap retiring at this point, maybe it just gets to that point in their career, and certainly we can have the discussion over coming days about Karma and whether there's the potential for him to maybe come back at some point, but yeah, probably seems like the time is just about up for JKap, and well, we'll just have a look at his absolutely legendary career. OpTic Gaming says, thank you JKap for not only what you've done for OpTic, but what you have done for the Call of Duty scene. A true legend and a champion. And well, this then follows up from JKap. Didn't expect to get this emotional from all the love. I'm real sitting here, you know, fighting back tears right now. With all that said, I'm looking to stay in the scene one way or another, and I'm looking forward to figuring out exactly what the next step is soon. And just to go back to this tweet and look through some of the replies here, I mean, it's just an absolute homage, to be honest. All the ticks in here for the professional Call of Duty players over the year, like aches in the replies. I mean, obviously, you fantastic boys pointed this out to me, of course. Bryce Tacular, I mean, Enable, JKap, previous teammates. Like, you can just scroll down here for ages, and you will find just, you know, comment after comment after comment saying, you know, what a great player JKap was. And well, feel free to check out all the references I leave in the description box below if you want to look through this in more detail, because it just keeps going on and on and on and on as you scroll down here. And that does show what an absolute legend JKap is in the Call of Duty community. And as Nameless says, JKap retiring is wild to me. We lost two absolute legends to Modern Warfare with Cap and Karma. Us old men are going down one by one. And well, who will be the next, I suppose, is the question that came out. I think that there was a fake Scump account that said he was retiring as well. That's not happening. If you saw that and thought it was legit, that was like a fake account. I don't imagine Scott will be retiring this season. But yeah, the fake account was just kind of jumping on the bandwagon in that sense. And this really comes in the wake of the 4v4 announcement from competitive play. Even if it stayed 5v5, I definitely think this decision might have been reasonable for JKap, but 4v4 certainly hasn't helped, right? Because he's not in the position where he has a lot of stock right now if you wanted to get back onto a professional team, and going 4v4 reduces the number of players in the league. And I think the 5v5 change hurted him, and the 4v4 change has kind of compounded that issue that he has right now if he's still trying to compete at the top of competitive play. And, you know, these competitors at the end of the day don't necessarily want to retire. It's not an easy thing to put that, you know, 10-year path of your career behind you, but, you know, it has to happen at some point, and respect JKap for making that decision now. But as Cronut CD Lintel says here, another kind of compounding issue, I'm told the minimum roster size for next year is 5 players. Last season it was 7. So of course it's 4v4 with 1 substitute being the minimum requirements. And this once again talks to this issue that we've talked about over the coming days, and Crimsix was talking about yesterday, that the monetary implications of it going 4v4 and the financial side makes it easier for organizations to, well, hire less people, have to salary less players. Last season it was 5v5 with 2 substitutes guaranteed. That's a lot of money. You've got to salary 7 players. Now that goes down to 5, meaning there's only 1 substitute required, and I imagine a lot of teams will only take on 1 substitute, right? Which means a lot of players are going to be losing jobs. And well, JKap on that substitute bench on the OpTic Gaming team is probably in a position where he's not going to get even a sub spot at this point, which means that, you know, I might as well just move on with my career to something else. And this is certainly a discussion we can have on coming days as well with other players and other topics. As CoD League tweets out then, 2015 champion, 2016 champion. JKap, of course, if I didn't mention it already, a 2 times world champion throughout the Call of Duty history. Could have been a 3 3 times, to be honest. We'll have a look at some of his career results here in just a second. But yeah, an absolute legend. They called him JKap back in the day, like being a jetpack or whatever, because he won back-to-back champs on the Advanced Movement games, the Advanced Warfare, then of course on the jetpack games going into Black Ops 3. Almost got there in Infinite Warfare, as we will look at as well, which would have been an absolute crazy scene. And this was super impressive, to be honest, a player like kind of flourishing in the jetpack era when they'd already been around a Call of Duty career like 5+ years. And well, you know, a lot of players that have been around 5+ years, you're not going to expect them to become dominant in a jetpack era where, you know, it's more about gun skill and less about positioning, you could argue. We'll have a look at exactly how that developed here. If you guys aren't familiar with JKap's career, he was largely considered the best player in the entire game in Black Ops 1. That's what's remarkable to me, that he was so good back in Black Ops 1 on this legendary squad. Big T, Merk, you know, JKap and Rambo. And JKap was considered widely one of the best players in the game, if not the best. Dominated part of the Black Ops 1 season. Then we went to Modern Warfare 3, went into Black Ops 2 on this Team Envy squad. I mean, what a legendary squad this was. Stainville, Proofy, and Rambo. I mean, yeah, Rambo, of course, playing alongside JKap here for a couple of years. And think about where some of these names are now, and the fact that JKap's still relevant at the top. Of course, then we get Scump into the picture, late Black Ops 2, Big T, Scump, Nature, and JKap. I mean, that was a hell of a squad as well. We then go into the Ghost days. I mean, yeah, bounces around a few teams. You'll see Team Envy is a very consistent theme here as we go through these rosters here. But yeah, FaZe Clan didn't have the best results early on. A couple of good results for this Team Envy squad alongside Formal, of course, before we then went to do on fantastic things on the OpTic Gaming dynasty that started throughout the Advanced Warfare period. Then, of course, JKap joins Denial Esports. Crowder, now, you know, formerly Replays, now the coach of FaZe Clan, attach Clayster and JKap. They win the World Championship here in kind of a surprising result. OpTic Gaming came in here as favourites, but JKap and co managed to win it. Rest of the season wasn't so good. Goes back onto Team Envy, of course. Denial as an organisation is certainly a questionable one, as we've talked about a couple of times over the channel here. Then we get this Team Envy organisation, which finally gets solidified. Aches and TP early on in this season, which is pretty remarkable, alongside JKap and Slasher. And then they form this absolute god squad. JKap, Slasher, Apathy, and John. And I think it certainly can be argued that JKap gets underrated in some degree in his role and his responsibility on this team, because yes, you've got Slasher, you've got Apathy, you've got John, absolutely fantastic players, but certainly some potential for clashes there in terms of personalities. And JKap's just another one of these guys, like a Clayster, like a Crimsix, that knows how to win above all else. And teaming him up with a guy like Slasher, who wants to win above all else, is just yeah, a recipe for success, to be honest. And JKap keeping these guys in check and knowing how to win and winning multiple championships over a 10-year period is super impressive. And well, him coming into this squad certainly lit the fire under them for them to win the World Championship. And it's not like JKap was a bad player by any means on this squad. They win the World Championship once again in 2016. JKap goes back-to-back. Then throughout the Infinite Warfare season, they decide to stick together the entire way. And honestly, this was an incredible run of things. And the fact that these guys decided to stick was remarkable, because they had so many bad results in a row. I mean, top 24 at the Anaheim Open, for example, was just absolutely unacceptable. But they somehow get their stuff together. They go to Stage 2 playoffs and come second to OpTic. And then they beat OpTic in the winners finals at the Infinite Warfare champs. And, you know, we all know that JKap did not have the best series in the grand finals. He had like a 0.7, 0.6 or something. Slasher was really the only guy putting up numbers. And it was maybe at that point when we were like, I mean, okay, maybe JKap, you know, isn't quite the player he used to be. And then again, he's made back-to-back World Championship grand finals, winning 2 of them, only falling to the OpTic Gaming dynasty in the 3rd one, right? So still remarkable stuff. And then we go into the World War II season. And this is where I really believe that people start to, you know, maybe underrate Cap to some degree, because this Luminosity squad that he was on, Slacked, Octane, JKap, and John, I think it's quite impressive that this squad was able to do what they did. I mean, third, 4th, first, of course, of the Birmingham Open, the first LAN event I ever went to. I mean, the 3rd of the Stage 1 playoffs, 3rd Anaheim Opens, all this kind of stuff. These are great results, to be honest, for a squad with, decent slaying power. With Slacked and JKap on the team, you might think, it's not quite there. And JKap was a very solid individual player on this game. I think that in a game like World War II, it was much more about positioning and not necessarily so much about gun skill. JKap was able to still shine on this game, like almost 10 years after he really got his start in Call of Duty. Remarkable stuff, still winning championships throughout the World War II season. Then we go, of course, into Black Ops 4, and he starts out on this unbelievable team of Arceus, Pristini, Clayster, JKap, and Abizi, before then Simp was able to come in a few months later. But they get second at the Las Vegas Open. Could have won this one, but the OpTic Gaming squad, of course, with Karma back, was just too strong. And then the events after there were not pretty at all. He goes on to Evil Geniuses, and honestly, at the World Championship 2019, you guys might not remember, but the match they had against the E United squad, where EG were up like 230 to 160 or something against E United, 2-1 up in the series, and if they'd have won that, JKap could potentially have, knocked Clay down to losers bracket, and potentially they could have lost the entire tournament from there. Doesn't happen. E United clutch up, but once again, almost could have been a last hurrah for Cap, getting one over on his old buddy Clayster, and they've had some drama back and forth throughout the Black Ops 4 season especially. And personally, I think that the switch to 5v5 did not help a player like Cap, because it means that, especially Black Ops 4, and we've seen it in Modern Warfare as well, super fast paced, everyone's flying at everything all the time. That's not beneficial to a guy like Cap, who's maybe a slightly slower player, tends to play more positionally, get in a good position and play more strategically. That's not really how these last couple of years have played in 5v5, and I think that's hurt him to some degree, and we saw in the Modern Warfare season as well. He starts on a team, looks good in theory, they get 3rd, 4th on an event, then he gets dropped, Chino comes in, and then the entire squad falls apart, to be honest, before OGLA have a very good run at the end of the season when they do finally bring in Draza and Hollow to the squad on the amateur side, and that probably shows that, enough was enough for JKap really in the Call of Duty scene, and now going back to 4v4, he doesn't necessarily have the stock to get in a starting team, and as we looked at, the sub bench is very much restricted from what it used to be. So I wanted to give an homage really to JKap's career, an absolutely legendary one, but it's probably about time that he retires and goes to something else. Ake says 2008, 2009 to 2020 non-stop players, me, Karma, JKap, Scump and Parasite. Also wanted to, shout out Scump in a sense, right? We talked about how JKap's career has been ever spanning and still winning championships. I mean, Scump was around pretty much at the same time that JKap was, and still doing what he's doing today is once again remarkable. And Clay comes back. I took a legit 1 year break. I played the start of Black Ops 1, then Crowder screwed our team out of Twiz and Fizz or whatever. I played at Raleigh, and then Dallas played at Modern Warfare 3. My breaks were not real, so Clayster tried to get himself on this list as well that Ake puts together here. And just to finish off, I want to talk about Parasite, another name, of course, that's been around a long time. But with JKap potentially looking for opportunities, Parasite says looking at being a sub or potentially coach for any franchises looking. The support I could offer as starting roster from the bench or as a coach, plus a loyal fan base of supporters, is the best available. I produce results in everything I do and I work hard. So, good luck to Parasite to get something for this season. And he puts out this picture as well. Just wanted to remind franchises that without my beard, I'm 18 years old and cracked. I also don't have a smiling picture, so I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought it was pretty wholesome to finish off the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.